The revolution is here. We are the change. And that is a quote from Culture. And this quote addresses one of the main reasons I created Hippie-Fari, the beautiful life-changing message of reggae music. It was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So welcome to another episode of Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast, recorded live in the Ohm and Honey Reggae Radio and Media Studios in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. Now take a second and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. And I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie. And Hippie-Fari is a podcast where we discuss all things reggae. So if reggae music is your thing, you're in the right place. Now today we have a special guest in the studio. And my guest is a voice for the voiceless, a soldier in the reggae fusion movement, and no stranger to this show. It's his second time blessing the mic here, and today we're doing something special. We're going to be walking through 5 of his most revolutionary tracks one by one, diving into the message and the movement behind each one. So folks, please join me in welcoming Jay Canter of the band Street Level Uprising back to the show. Jay, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, Scotty, my good friend. How are you, man?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, man. It's a beautiful morning. It's kind of funny, though. Normally, I do my podcast in the evening when I get home from work. And, I woke up this morning and I sat down and I, hadn't really got moved. And I realized how old I'm getting because everything's hurting, man.
I know it, man. I know it.
Yeah. All my joints, I went to move the microphone, my elbow. I was like, good grief, man. But, it's all right. I kind of like waking up and hopping right into it. It's nice and refreshing. So, but
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time out of your morning to come on the show. We definitely appreciate it. And like I said, I had when I mentioned this episode to you, kind of back in the about a month ago, I asked you to choose 5 tracks that kind of definitely had a real solid revolutionary message. All your music does, but I wanted you to pick 5 of them, based on, the lyrical content. And, we could play those 5 tracks, and then you could, dive deep into them and kind of explain to us what they're all about and what you were thinking when you wrote them and their relevance then and also today. So you picked 5 awesome tracks, and they're in no particular order, but I kind of picked the order how I thought it was pretty cool. And we have your 5th one that's unreleased, which is kind of a treat for everybody. So we're going to say that one for last. But we're going to go ahead and start with A Prayer from Nowhere. Now, the title alone kind of feels like a plea that transcends borders and dogma. What inspired this track, A Prayer from Anywhere?
Well, it actually started before. I had written a short story that took place during the Bosnian War. In the 1990s, and I wrote this short story, and it was called a prayer in Srebrenica, or a prayer from, I can't remember it. So I had that title that I had for the short story, and then I just got the idea, like, things that we forget about when there's conflicts, when there's people suffering, is that these things can and do happen anywhere.
Sure.
And so a little war in the Balkans isn't just their problem, it's the whole world's problem, because this can happen anywhere. And we like to compartmentalize these things, like Ukraine, and say, well, it's over there, it's their problem. Well, no. It's a problem for humanity, and it's a problem that could happen right in our own backyard if we're not careful. Right. And so it's important for us to stay on top of this and try to make sure things like that don't happen anywhere.
Amen. Right on. I love that. And that's so true, man. A lot of people will, well, it doesn't directly affect me, so it's not my problem. But, it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Everything, in a certain sense, directly affects you. And it is, our, I would say, almost responsibility to kind of, take heed to things that are going on elsewhere, because it can and will eventually happen in your own backyard, and we need to be paying attention to that kind of stuff. So thank you for that explanation, man. Definitely appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and play that track. This is A Prayer from Anywhere, Street Level Uprising.
like this and scream into the night. No one to hear but God. If my family can't eat, I can't sleep, and the feel I paid from the bottle of my Molotov. If there's soldiers and police around us, oh, I promise that the sky won't fall to ground. If we have our brothers and our sisters around us, we'll take this Babylon system down. Yeah, we'll burn this ism system right down. Yeah, 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 yeah. We will not die like this, she cried, into the night with no one to hear but God. If they think that we'll take this rape and genocide, then they'll feel our pain from the bout of my Kalashnikov. And if the soldiers and police surround us, oh, I promise that the sky won't fall to ground. If we have our brothers and our sisters around us, we'll take this evil system down. Yeah, we'll burn this vicious system right down. Yeah, 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 yeah. If my family can't eat, I can't sleep. If my family can't eat, I can't sleep. If my family can't eat, I can't sleep. Oh, if my family can't eat, I can't sleep. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we'll take this evil system down. Yeah, we'll burn this vicious system right down. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Nice. I like that, man. That's a prayer from anywhere. Street Level Uprising. And, you know, like you said, when we have our brothers and sisters around us, we'll burn this Babylon system down. You know, and that is so true. You know, the quote for my podcast that I say at the end of every podcast is strengthen unity, build your community, and damn it, man. You know, that's why reggae music was started. And that is, I love that. That's it right there, man. You know, you said it all just in that verse right there.
Yeah, yeah, man. I tend to embrace the more conscious, the more militant end of reggae, and a
Yes.
lot of what we do, our music is strictly conscious. So
Yes.
all of our songs are conscious, and it's not that I don't enjoy other songs. I can get down on love songs and party songs like anyone. I enjoy that stuff too. But for me, the decision I made as an artist when I started Street Level was I wanted it to be strictly conscious, and we have tunes that are militant like that one, and we have tunes that are more about humanity coming together, celebration of life, things like that.
Right, yes, and I do remember talking to you about, you know, when you started Street Level Uprising, you loving your logo that I'm actually wearing right now on my shirt, you know, and you were like, I want people, whenever they see the band's logo, to know exactly what we're about so they don't get confused and go over and start listening to something that, you know, they might not like, you know, so when they see the name and they see the logo, they pretty much know what's going on already.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I love that, man. You know, and I think it's great that all of your songs are conscious, you know, that you don't mix in the party songs. I mean, you have a message and you don't want anything to dilute that message. And I really do love that a lot. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this particular format, because I think it's important for people to hear that message. I really do. So thank you so much for that, man.
Yeah,
Now,
I appreciate that, man.
Of course, brother. Yeah, and I love this shirt, dude. I mean, thank you so much for sending this shirt to me. Like I said, it's still my my favorite logo in reggae music, 100%. For the people that can't see it, it's a like a skeleton fist in the Rasta colors, the fight fist. It's really awesome. So head over, check out Street Level Uprising, and check out what I'm talking about. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to track 2. This is the Pendulum Swing. Now, before even listening to it, just a name, it sounds like it was written in kind of like fire and patience. Kind of tell us where this one came from.
Man, this was the fastest song I ever wrote. I think I wrote this song in 15 minutes, start to finish. And the Pendulum Swing is, if you pay attention to history.
Okay.
Like, we've talked about history, man. I'm a student of history. I love history, and it's you know, to me, the reasons for getting into history are self-evident, and that is that history really is just a series of loops. It's a series of repeats. So
sure.
Everything that's happening now has happened in a different way before, but we've seen it. We've seen these loops come around. Sure. And the pendulum swing is what we see here every 4 to 8 years in our country.
Right.
Which is, you know, we have a country that got so hard behind a Democratic president and then gets super hard behind a Republican president, and back and forth, rinse and repeat.
Sure.
And it's just what we do. And when people get upset at certain moments like this, it's important to remember that it really is just a pendulum swing, man. And we swing too far to one side, and then we swing too far to the other, but we always come back. We always come back.
Right. Yeah, that's funny. It is kind of strange. I from childhood until now, I don't ever remember the pendulum stopping in the middle.
Right.
It's always like just swung wham and then wham. You know, you have Reagan, and then you go back, and then you have Clinton, and then you have Bush, and then you have Obama, and then you have Trump. So I mean, it's it's literally one extreme to the other. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, and it does it not just with the presidents, but with everything that we do in this country. We tend to go hard, and then we realize a correction needs to be made, and we overcorrect, and then we overcorrect again. And so if you catch a snapshot at a moment in time, that pendulum is going to be right in the middle, but it's only going to be there for a second. Right. It's going to keep swinging.
And like you said, we overcorrect. And what happens when you overcorrect in your car? You flip the car. Right?
Yes, sir. Anyone who's ever driven on ice and snow, as I have, knows the overcorrection is not a good thing.
Right. And the same can be said about, politics, like you just said. Yeah. So let's go ahead and check out this track, the fastest song you've ever written. Sometimes that's a good thing. When you got something to say, it just comes out. So this is a Pendulum Swing, Street Level Uprising.
Yes, we the victim of our greedy neighbor. Hands and backs for our votes, finance, money, and labor. Whoa, votes, finance, money, and labor. So we'll spin the thing around, and when we come up, the kick us to the ground. Oh, but next time maybe we'll stay down. But still we rise up. We will always rise up. Set it in motion to tumble down. Pendulum swing brings it all back around again and again. Yeah, we will rise up. Ali never stayed on the mat even when they made them give him his title back. Took away his means, but not his will to fight. Said to shock down the system when he spoke up for rights. It only takes one to stand against iniquity. With a small axe to topple the heaviest tree. Oh, small axe to topple. drop it down, and when we come up, they kick us to the ground. Oh, but this time we won't hang around, but still we rise up. We will always rise up. Forward we go ever, backwards never. Forward we go ever, backwards never. Moving forward, up and over, we must get over. Forward we go ever, backwards never. Rise up, we must rise up. Rise up, come on, rise up. Rise up, come on, rise up. Rise up, come on. And we'll burn it down when we come up, they kick us to the ground. Oh, but this time maybe we'll stay down, but still we rise up. We will always rise up. Yeah. Set into motion to tumble down. The pendulum swing brings it all back around. Again and again. Yeah, we will rise up.
Nice. That is the Pendulum Swing, Street Level Uprising. Now, Jay, not only do you have the dopest hair in reggae music, you also have some of the dopest lyrics in reggae music. I had to throw that in there. That's funny, man. For anybody who's never seen you before, this guy has got some massive, massive long dreadlocks. Very impressive. But your lyrics, they hit so hard. But the cool thing about it, the really, really awesome thing about Street Level Uprising is the music is like, that was like a happy song. The way the transitions were, it was very like inviting, like, you know, you could bounce up and down and listen to it. And I like that because I think that it kind of makes it welcoming for people to accept and absorb the message. You know what I mean? It's like inviting music to listen. And I like that. You know what I mean? It's not, we have a heavy message and the music's got to be, heavy. No, it's like, it's bright music with a heavy message. And that's a really cool combo that not many people do. You know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I don't know that I set out to do it, but I kind of like the subversive element of it, of like, I want the music to be welcoming, man. I'm not trying to alienate anyone. And if someone's not into conscious lyrics, and I have a friend of mine who says, who said straight up, if I want the news, I'll watch the news. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Because he didn't want his entertainment to go to those places, and I completely understand with that. But at least there's something in the music for folks who might not want that, and it's something they can still enjoy. Yes. And if it unlocks something new for them, like that's even better.
Yep. At the beginning of the song, or kind of in the chorus area, you say it only takes a spark to start a fire, and just kind of one, rock thrown or whatever to start a riot. What are your do you have any thoughts on what's going on right now? Kind of the reaction, to some of the policies that are in place. Do you think the reaction could be a little bit more tame, or do you understand where the people are coming from? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. I have all those thoughts, man. My number one thought all the time is I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Yes,
that's
amen.
Like number one.
Amen.
What we need to do, we can do it without people getting hurt.
You're exactly right.
So that's always number one. We can do, there's people who believe that violent revolution is the only way, and it's not. Multiple revolutions around the world has proven that that's not true. And in fact, not only is it not true, but the nonviolent revolutions tend to produce longer lasting effects
certainly
than the violent ones. And I know in this country we have a history of, violent revolution taking it away from the British, but a lot of people don't realize the other factors that were going on at the time in this country too, that it's not all so black and white as a lot of times history books will paint it. So anyway, so first and foremost, I don't want anyone to get hurt. And we have a government right now that's just itching to throw people in jail, itching to deport people, itching to hurt people. There is an anti-empathy movement going on in Washington right now. Okay. And so it's a movement that doesn't care if people get hurt. They want to prove their point. They want to do what they want to do. And unfortunately for anyone protesting, it means you have to be extra careful.
Right.
Because these are more dangerous times than usual. I've been tons of protests in my time. You always have to be careful, but they're especially dangerous times right now.
Yes.
So I don't want people to get hurt. But at the same time, I understand when you have the type of anger, and people feel a lot of righteous anger right now.
Yes.
That unfortunately can explode into violence fairly easily.
Yes, it can.
So I think it's a really fine line that you walk, especially with the youth, because once you get up around my age, you're not as inclined to do some of the things that I was 20 years ago.
Yeah, like getting a mosh pit, for example.
Yeah, mosh pits and all kinds of things. Yes. I wish the youth wisdom while they're out there doing what they're doing.
Amen.
To keep themselves safe. And it's important to remember that if you have the numbers, and this is a movement that has numbers, you can overcome without violence and without getting yourself hurt. And I just hope everyone out there takes that to heart.
Yes, absolutely. And I do agree. I was in a lot of protests. I was in a lot of groups. I joined Greenpeace when I was 9. But I was in a group called Refuse and Resist. It was a front group for the Revolutionary Communist Party when I was about 17, 18 years old. And it was all about 100% nonviolent protests. We protested the School of Amerikkas, the war in Iraq. But, it was how to bring action to the streets and do it in a nonviolent way. But I'll kind of, say this and we'll go on to the next song. I think a lot of religion kind of plays into it, with the violence aspect. Because if you think about it, here in the West, the main religion is Christianity, and nothing against Christianity, but the main focus is, Christ, and he was butchered on a cross, which is a very, very, very violent thing, So a lot of people, they subscribe to that, and they know that their Lord and Savior, went through this violent, bloodbath. And I think, a lot of that kind of rolls downhill, when it starts, your life is religion, or, your life is, spirituality, and that's kind of your, your direction. It's like it's all has to do with violence. I subscribe to the Eastern peaceful spirituality philosophies, but, and then, if you don't do right, you end up in, a hell, which is also violent. You know what I mean? So from our government over here in the West to the biggest religions over here in the West, everything is surrounded by violence, unfortunately, and then we wonder why the youth respond violently. But I do agree with you 100%. Revolutions do not have to be armed. They do not have to be violent. They can be very peaceful. And like you said, the ones that are peaceful do stick more, I think, because people listen more if it's peaceful. If somebody approaches you and they're screaming and yelling, what's the first thing you do? You shut them out. You don't listen to someone who's yelling at you and screaming. But if they come to you in a peaceful, calm manner, you tend to listen to them more because you don't feel like you're attacked. When you're attacked, then you attack. And then all bets are off, I think. All learning goes aside, and then it's just fight or flight mode. You know what I mean? I think so. But
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you 100%. I pray for the youth, and I do hope that a true revolution of thinking sweeps through and, you know, love takes over. I think it was our last podcast, or maybe when we were talking on the phone or something like that. You said the most powerful message in the world is one love. You know, what Bob Marley brought forth. You were like, there's no two words in the world that are that strong. And if you literally dissect what that means, that could change the entire world. And I believe you're exactly right with that. So thank you so much, man. Now, this next track, what a great segue. The next track that we're going to play is Morning in Amerikkka, but it's spelled Amerikkka. And I know your experience with, I think when you moved to Florida, they were still having Klan rallies in your area, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Yeah, that is accurate, man. 1987.
That's fucking
and there were still
crazy,
Klan
man.
rallies down the street behind the house, yeah.
In our lifetime, still. What was the title track of this song? Did that have something to do with Reagan's old slogan by any chance?
It kind of did. It kind of had a part of it. The title just sort of came together. And I don't remember if the title came from that or if I just had the title and then it dawned on me that was a Reagan thing. But either way, it all works, so it's okay.
All right, cool. So, I mean, this is an awesome title. I mean, so it's obviously about waking up. Is it kind of a warning or like a call to action, this song?
So this song was a direct reaction to Charlottesville.
Okay.
To the events of Charlottesville at the beginning of the first Trump administration. And
could you kind of explain those real quick for the people that don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah, so the marches and protests that took place in Charlottesville, you had the night protests where a bunch of white supremacists, white nationalists, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, you know, they dressed up in nicer clothes, but they're still white supremacists to me. Exactly. You know, marching around with their tiki torches, talking Jews will not replace us and other such nonsense. So seeing that and seeing the events of the other days, the young woman Heather Heyer, who was killed by a white supremacist who drove his car into a crowd.
Right.
This song was directly inspired by all of the events that were going on there in Virginia.
All right. Fantastic. And, it's amazing to me. You know, if we were all blind, we would have no idea what color somebody was unless we asked them. But they wouldn't know because they couldn't see. They'd be blind. It's amazing to me that, you know, just by seeing somebody, you base an entire ideology on it, you know. It's absolutely amazing. But I can't wait for the people to hear this song. This is Morning in Amerikkka, Street Level Uprising.
Victim players. Still that old behavior is to line up brainless and party like it's 1939 and stasis on the scanner. You line up against the banner. Equality feels like oppression to oppressors. If it wasn't for the omnipresent cell phone cameras, they party like it's 1959 in Bama. When they have a chance, they still grip the noose, and I won't wait for them to shake it loose. If you're just waking up, good morning. We're amid the sins he said we've given up. Those long pale faces are coming with torches, screaming welcome to Amerikkka. Founded in genocide and built on slavery, birthright to equate violence and bravery. No license required for a vile lifestyle. Every feeble reason for a pride. private stockpile. If those toys are more important to them than lives, I want to hear them say it. If there's a price to be based on bloodlust, then I want to see them pay it. Oh, I'm just so haunted, just so depressed, and I refuse to get used to this. Well, if you're just waking up, good morning. Good morning. We'll admit the sins you said we've given up. Those long pale faces that come on with torches. Scream a welcome to America. You won't shoot up our homes, you won't shoot up our churches, you won't shoot up our schools, you won't shoot up our fun. I'm not alone, we are not the judges, we are not your fools. We'll never trust in your gun. You won't shoot up our homes, you won't shoot up our churches, you won't shoot up our schools, you won't shoot up our fun. I am not alone, we are not the judges, we are not your fools. We'll never trust in your gun. Well, if you're just waking up, good morning. Yeah. We'll admit the sins you said we've given up. Those long pale faces are coming with torches. Scream a welcome to America. Oh yeah. You won't shoot up our homes, you won't shoot up our churches, you won't shoot up our schools, you won't shoot up our fun. I am not alone, we are not the judges, we are not your fools. We'll never trust in your gun. I am not alone, 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 I am not alone.
That was Morning in America, Street Level Uprising. And yeah, I like the beginning. You know, they traded in their sheets for blazers, you know?
Yeah.
And like, you can't put lipstick on a pig, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Still a fucking pig.
And I wanted to elaborate on something you asked about, like the good morning the thing. That was I heard a lot of people around that time express a view like, how can we still be racist in this country? We had a black president. And so it was kind of like there was an awakening for a lot of people,
Right.
after the Charlottesville stuff, where it's like, oh, like I guess we still have, you know, a strong racist element among us. So it was kind of like, you know, yeah, having one black president unfortunately did not wipe out all the racism that still exists in this country, and I think a lot of people woke up to that.
Yeah.
After that, you know.
And what sucks, I think, is it kind of bounces back and forth. You know what I mean? Because hatred exists on both sides. There was a group, I believe, I'm trying to remember, the 12 Tribes of Judah or whatever. They were protesting in Orlando when I lived there, and I had my wife stop the car. I was like, "This is cool." You know what I mean? I liked what they were saying through the megaphone. They were handing out flyers, right? So I walked over to the guy and I said, "Can I have one of those?" He goes, "This isn't for you." I was like, I want to see what you're all about. I've kind of heard about you. I just kind of see what your message is. He's like, "This isn't for you." I was like, "What do you mean it's not for me?" He's like, "You're white. This isn't for you." I was like, "Wow, so you have a problem with me because, I'm white." And he just turned around and kept protesting. And I was like, man, that's, it unfortunately, it does exist on both sides. Now, on the level that it comes, towards the minorities, it's still, minorities have a much better chance of getting a stronger sentence when they go to court and they're convicted of a crime than a non-minority, so the racism still exists. So I get the minority groups, fighting back 100%. I totally get that. But there still also needs to be a level of unity on all fronts. You know what I mean? This division based on skin color from any, view is just absolutely insane to me. You know what I mean? But it's unfortunate that it still goes on.
If you want to boil it down to a bottom line, it's that we all need each other.
Yes.
And if we can't live together, it's a problem.
Right.
Because everyone's here, nobody's going away. So everyone needs to get along, and not just get along, but man, just be cool. Just be cool with each other.
Right.
I mean, it seems like such a simple concept, but at the same time, I understand that folks that have been marginalized, dispossessed.
Yes.
It's all right, I'm gonna go here. It strikes me as odd that like you've got people who don't want to hear any kind of protests from marginalized groups.
Right.
But yet the second these folks were asked to wear a mask during COVID, they freaked out.
Right.
And it's like, wow, like other people can't protest when they've basically been under people's boots for their entire time here.
Right.
But somebody asked you to put a piece of cloth over your mouth and you're going to freak out and start carrying guns around and stuff. So it's like, those two things are kind of ridiculous to me, man.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. And we me and my wife, we didn't my wife actually got fired from a job because she didn't get the vaccine, but now they're coming out, the government's requiring them to put things on the vaccine stating that it causes can cause heart conditions and heart problems, so it was just kind of something. But yes, I totally agree. It became a whole anti-mask, it became insane. Like you said, the pendulum, it couldn't just be, yeah. I don't want to. It had to turn into an entire political issue.
It had to be a thing. There's people out in L.A. Protesting people being kidnapped by ICE.
Right.
And that's not okay, but it was okay to charge the Capitol.
Right.
So, we have a double standard issue in this country that's beyond the pale.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to get backlash for saying this, but I do in some forms think that, certain forms of, violent protesting are okay. Like back in the day when the TSA was a real big thing, they called them team sexual assault, TSA at the airport when they were after 9/11. There were allegations of them, and it actually happened, when they were searching kids, you know what I mean? Like frisking and touching kids, patting down, like in inappropriate ways, If I was one of the parents, I'd have been out in the parking lot flipping a cop car over to prove a point, I don't care, you don't, no excuse putting your hands all over children, you know what I mean? It's insane. So I do understand that there's some aspects why, when people have to get, take it beyond, a peaceful point, but it, it's just kind of sad to see it get to that level and that point sometimes. But, with everything that's going on with ICE, it's just a lot of it's absurd. It's insane. I was a restaurant manager and I had a lot of Haitians. I lived in Orlando and I had a lot of Haitian employees. And the last Trump administration, he, went through his thing where he deported people. And two of my best line cooks had to go back. They had to go back home and do all this red tape and all that stuff to be able to come back. And I was like, these guys have been working here for like 20 years, paying fucking taxes, contributing to this country more than, a lot of people. And just because they're not, quote unquote, on paper legal, you're sending them back. It's absolutely, it was insane to me. You know what I mean? There's no reason for that. This country was built on the backs of immigrants.
Oh yeah, and unless you're Native American, which
right.
99.9% of us are not,
right.
unless you're Native American, we all had to get here at some point. And
Yes.
I understand the arguments about legal immigration versus illegal immigration.
Me too.
What I don't understand is a lack of due process.
Amen.
I don't understand people who are here legally who have been deported. I don't understand those things. I
Right.
don't understand the violence behind it.
Right.
And it's just a big mess right now. And it's the attitude, it's the spirit of the thing behind it.
Yep.
That's always the problem.
Yes, and I was talking to my wife the other day. I also, I'm with you. I believe there obviously there has to be some policies in place. Not just every single person can walk over. But a lot of the ways that they're detained and they're treated. People. They're like, well, they're if they detain somebody over in Iraq, they're not treated as good. I'm like, well, the United States, we have the means to detain and treat people in a very, very, very humane and good way. We have the funds to do it. We have the abilities to do it. We have the resources to do it. So we should do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Just because these people are trying to get over here does not mean they're criminals. So if they are detained, they should be treated, very, very, very respectfully in a very respectable manner. Placed in places, where they're holding them, that are, quality. It's just, we have the ability and the means to do it. And quite frankly, we are supposed to have the common sense, the know-how, and the compassion to be able to do it correctly, But
yeah, man. And what does the United States stand for? What is this American exceptionalism stuff that we've been hearing about our whole lives, about how, the creation of America and what we're supposed to stand for?
Right.
Well, at the end of the day, it's bullshit because of the people who are in charge. Now, at a personal level, man, this country is full of warm, caring people. But sometimes even some of those warm, caring people get in a little group and they get something in their head, and the next thing you know, stuff like this is going on. So
and you're in an echo chamber. Yep.
Yeah, man. We need to stop for a second and think about who we are as human beings and who we want to be. You want to be known for this, or do you want to be known for someone who's compassionate and caring and full of the spirit of one love, man? Because it's each one of us gets to make that choice every single day. I will be love, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Amen. That's a beautiful thing, 100%. And if you think about it this way, a lot of my spirituality goes back to that. I firmly believe that, you are not your body, you are not your thoughts, you are not your, emotions, for example. If anger arises, if you don't pay it any attention, it disappears, right? Therefore, it's an illusion. It's not my anger. It's not the guy down the street anger. It was yours. That arises, you see it, you pay it no mind, you address it, and it disappears. So you are not defined by all of these things that people kind of feel like they're, maybe defined by, and that they have to defend, it's, I have to defend this, I have to defend that. No, you approach everything from compassion. And when you wipe all that stuff away, what's left is love. That's it. At our core, human beings, pure consciousness is love at its purest form, because there's no ego there to get in the way. It's just compassion. But, to me, it's not learning how to be compassionate and love. It's unlearning everything we've been taught to get back to the core that we were born with, which is love and compassion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I like that.
Right. We've been taught, over here, America, the American dream, we're the most free in the world. I had a quote on one of my shows a couple weeks ago. Fascism is in its most advanced form in the United States. We're just too blind to see it. And it truly is, because we're taught division, we're taught it's all about you. Capitalism creates division. The two-party political system creates division. Isn't it amazing that it's always 50-50? The country is split right down the fucking middle. How is that? That's by design, man. It doesn't just happen to be, if it was random, it'd be like 10-90. But it's always 50-50. It's weird, dude. Yeah. The country's always split down the middle. That is by design, bro. It's like, so you can keep equal amounts of people fighting. Because if it was 80-20, the 20% wouldn't even be heard. But it's 50-50, so both sides are heard. So they're always screaming at each other, because for one, there's another. There's always somebody to argue with.
Yeah, and I think most people, I think as human beings, man, most of us don't ask for much. We want a job that pays the bills, keeps a roof over our head. We want better lives for our children than we had. We want clean air, clean water. I mean, like 99% of the things, of the issues, we would all agree on, but they keep us fighting about that other point. And you know, some people have said like, oh, Street Level, it's a political band. Man, I don't like that. I don't like political.
Definitely not a political band. You don't mention politics in your music at all.
No, man, and you will never see me post online, social media about this politician, that politician. I don't like any politicians, and I've been pretty clear about that. I don't like them. I don't like them because to get to that level, they had to take a lot of dirty money, every single one of them. I don't want to deal with it.
You're right.
I've told local city commissioners and whatnot to their faces that I don't respect them. So my distaste for politicians runs pretty deep. And we could argue about, well, you know, this side's worse than that side and whatever. Maybe sometimes those things are true, but I don't like political because, man, Street Level is about human rights. It's about humanity. It's about people on a personal level. And I just don't want people to get that all twisted up and think, you're not going to see us playing a political rally for anyone, anywhere, at any time. We don't play corporate gigs. We don't do anything like that. Street Level is a band that doesn't make any damn money because we refuse to take those. We've played more benefits for people who could use the money than we've played profitable gigs in our time. And so I want to point that out, man. It's not about politics and voting for this guy and that guy to us. It's about humanity, man. It's about human rights.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you're actually going to be playing the benefit for my nonprofit, Sacred Eye, in October, which is really cool. But, you know, I was very politically driven when I was younger. Like I said, I was in those protest groups and kind of in my young adult age. And I'm not going to lie, when Trump came on the scene, to me, he seemed like the most punk rock candidate we had ever had. You know, I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to get rid of corruption. I'm going to, you know, do this and do that. All sounded good, right? But, you know, if you really think about it, he got where he was by being completely dishonest all the time. Never paying taxes. You know, just he employs people, but, you know, it's just at barely livable wages, you know. And like you said, you know, the government, they keep us divided, but they also keep us right maybe barely above the poverty level. So even if you wanted to do something, you couldn't. You know, it's like you miss 2 days of work, you're screwed. You know what I mean? It's like you're right above the poverty level. Both parties in a home, if it's a husband and wife or a husband and husband, wife and wife, or whatever, have to work now to pay the bills. It's, you know, they keep you so busy with having to work and so inundated with you know, everything that's going on, creating the division, keeping you so busy where even if you wanted to, you know, to fight back and stand up, I mean, you have to make a conscious decision to realize that, you know, enough is enough and I'm tired of what's going on. Because other than that, it's, you know, like I said, it's done on purpose. It's all by design, you know, to keep your focus away from what's really going on. It's absolutely amazing. But yes, completely walked away from the politics. You know, the more, you know, like I said, still politically driven, kind of, but I hate both sides. I do not like the politicians. Like I said, you know, they all say beautiful stuff, you know. Trump was, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I was like, he's going to drain the swamp, he's going to get rid of corruption. But if you literally think about it, he is himself complete corruption. On every level. But they all are.
Yeah, man. So Bill, my esteemed brother-in-law, bass player in Street Level Uprising, he said, Trump wants to drain the swamp. People don't realize Trump is the swamp.
Yes.
And that's what it comes down to, is the billionaire class that made their money on the backs of other people.
Yes.
These are the swamp. These are the people that make people suffer every day. Like you said, how many people do I know that are only working one job? Right. To pay their bills. None. One income in the house and everything's taken care of. Not very many these days, man. We're all in debt. So this is the swamp that these folks have created.
Yes.
So while I agree in principle that I would love to see an outsider come in and turn the system on its head, Trump is not that person because he's just part of the whole thing. He's in that.
Yes, he's part of that, 1% or 10% or whatever. And, speaking of, having one income, my wife and I lived beachside, New Smyrna Beach, and it's awesome house, man. It was, me and her, it was a block from the beach. You could hear the waves crash. Anyway, rent's going up and up and up and up and up. It's just getting absolutely insane. So we're like, we're going to buy an RV. You know what I mean? Save money, be smart, right? Buy an RV park right on the river. It's cool. Launch my kayaks. It's fun. The rent to keep your RV is about $1,000 a month now. So even that's what I'm saying, man. So it's impossible. They make it just so you can barely survive. And when you're in fear of not being able to survive, your number one goal is survival mode, correct? Taking care of your family. It's not, fighting the system. If we were comfortable now with what's going on and, you had one income able to sustain and the other person in the house could actually focus on social issues and all that kind of stuff, it'd be a completely different story, right? Yeah. But it's by design. Because, the more they throw at us, they're not going to do anything. They're in survival mode right now. They have to take care of their families. It's, they have to work. They're not going to have time to address what we're doing. And it's just, it's amazing to me.
And it doesn't, it doesn't even have to be some grand conspiratorial plan. All it takes is CEOs saying, let's raise prices, get more profits. All it takes is like a bunch of people independently doing that to wreck the whole thing, to make the price of food go up. It doesn't even have to be the sinister conspiracy. It just has to be the natural greed that seems to infect these people that are at the top of this hierarchy.
Yes, and it happens overnight. I work for a farm. We sell eggs from another farm in the area. They went from $8 a dozen to $12 a dozen overnight. No fucking reason. Just because the egg, whatever it is, the egg board, which is a real thing, decided to raise the prices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's $8 to $12. That's very substantial. And, working in the restaurant industry, the owners of the restaurants, they would just raise prices. Not because they, we just gave a guy a 25-cent raise, which is a slap in the face. But, because they want to make more money. They're not comfortable with their level of millionaire, you know what I mean? So I could go on and on about it. But, it's built on the sweat off the backs of other people. And the guy that we have in office right now is just as guilty, if not more, than all of them, for just being, corrupt and working his way to get where he is by literally fucking other people completely the entire way.
Yeah, man. Look, like I hate to bust anyone's bubble who loves some of these politicians, but like by and large, these are shitty people.
Yes.
Who have taken a lot of dirty money, aren't particularly intelligent. Basic intelligence.
Sure.
So it's not like the people that we're electing to run things are morally or intellectually superior. These are just schlubs who take dirty money. You know what I mean? Right. So putting any kind of our faith in them is might be a little misguided sometimes.
Right. Well, instead of paying ICE to go into the street and get illegal immigrants, I get people that are violent and were in gangs and committing crimes, arrest them like you arrest everybody else. But put that money into reforming fucking health care, so we're not paying $500 a month for insurance, and then we have to pay $400 when we go to the dentist to get a tooth pulled. You know what I mean? Reform health care. Make it affordable for people. Make groceries affordable for people. Gas, anything that would benefit us. Taking immigrants and deporting what does that do? It's a waste of fucking money. It's a waste of resources. It's not helping the American public whatsoever. Yeah. It's absurd, but people are behind it. We need this. No, we need a lot of other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's part of the distraction. Like you were saying, we've always had these wedge issues to distract us from the things that really matter,
Yes.
So it's just more of the same. It's just business as usual.
Yep. And like you said, 100%, it's all about love. And the last thing they want us to do is to love each other, because then we would unite. But it's sad but true. Well, Thank you so much, man. This is a lot of fun. Now we're gonna go on to track number 4. This track is titled "Home." Kind of switching gears. It seems like it carries kind of a warm message. But can you kind of go ahead and just tell us what you were working through when you wrote this track?
Yeah, so I forgot this is one of the tunes I gave you, but a few minutes ago I said I will be love and I'm not ashamed to say it. That's something I say in this tune.
Great.
So I kind of accidentally foreshadowed this, but this was me being just incredulous about, the opening line is fear and hatred all there is? Can we not do better than this? All of these seeds that we've sown of conflict, of hatred, of war, violence, all these things. Are you telling me we can't do better than this? You know
Sure.
what year it is? We have we have airplanes and internet and everything else. We don't need to do this anymore. We don't need to be this anymore.
Right.
But it goes back to what you were saying about we're kind of set up. We're kind of set up to the point where, if you watch TV or if you're on YouTube, you're going to be bombarded with messages that might color the way you feel about something, and
Right.
it might be bullshit. It might be total bullshit from the top on down.
Yep.
So my thing is like, can we not do better than this? Than this government we've elected in this country? Can we not do better than this conflict we've put on each other? Can we not do better? And I think we can. And I think the way to do that, as we've said so many times in this, is through love.
Amen. We can do it 100%, but love takes, to me, it takes a conscious decision, because I believe, once again, we were naturally born to love and that's it, but we have been taught not to. We've been taught to separate. We've been taught all about me, protect myself. Capitalism drilled down your throat, division, politics drilled down your throat. So we have to unlearn everything. So I think instead of people making a conscious decision to, instead of acting this way, why don't I just love? They're just going with, everything they've been taught and inundated with. And, if people, that's one thing that we're going to have to do, make that conscious decision too. Yes, because ask anybody, would you rather be hated or loved by your wife or husband? I think loved, right? Or hated or loved by your friends. Everybody chooses love. But if that's what you want to receive, you should be giving that.
Gotta give
100%.
it. Gotta give it, man. Gotta give it. You gotta have an open heart and be willing to help people. And I see it, I see it on both sides where it's like, people don't. I see people unfriending each other all over the place.
Yes.
And it's like, and that's something. It's something where like I get it. I understand people cut people out of their lives because they don't want the drama, they don't want the anger, whatever. But like, do you want to change people's minds?
Right.
Or do you just want to satisfy your ego by cutting people out of your lives?
That's
But do you want to make change? Man, I don't know if I'm ever going to change anyone's mind on this planet, but I'd like to.
Amen.
I'd like to change people's minds who live in hatred and fear and teach them about love and getting along and everyone getting together and having a good time.
Yes.
I don't know if I have the power to do that, but damn it, I'm going to try. I'm going to try, man. I'm not going to cut people out of my lives because even if they do something or think something that I might find discouraging or even reprehensible, like, because it's not about me. It's not about my ego. It's about us. It's about all of humans getting along and stopping violence and stopping other things like that, man. That's what it's about.
And I like that you said that. And to me, it is about dissolving the ego. This goes back to my my spirituality. Your ego is nothing but your thoughts or your stories, you know what I mean, in your head that you feel like you have to defend, you know? But if you get to a point where you realize you are not your thoughts are pretty much an illusion. If you don't pay them any attention, they go away. You know, once your thoughts of who I got to be, who I am, you know, your ego dissolves and you're left with pure love, you know? Because that's all that really remains. And that's a...
Do you want... do you want to be right or do you want to do the right thing? Because those are two different things. I don't care about being right. I don't care about satisfying my own ego about being right on everything. Right. I want to do the right thing.
Yes.
That's what matters to me.
That's correct. And at the end of the day, being right to me is relative because there's always two answers to a question depending on how you look at it. But doing the right thing to me is not relative. It's pretty black and white, you know? You know what's right, you know what's wrong, and, compassion, once again. And I feel like, and I'm going to hit this track for a second, but I'll go back to what I said before. I feel like a lot of Western religion, it's a lot of just say these words and you're good to go. Accept this one entity or one, savior as God, and you're good to go. It's about, what you say, not what you do. It's not really based on works. And, once again, I feel like, a lot of people over here in the West are very religious, and a lot of them, well, I'm good because, I said my prayer and I'm good to go. Now I can do whatever I want to do, But it is, no, it's totally what you do and how you treat people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was hoping the whole "what would Jesus do" thing would spark a little mini revolution in Christianity. It didn't, but I was hoping, because if you read about Jesus's works and teachings,
amen,
then I don't understand how you can live your life like that.
I don't either.
If you're really, if he's your Lord and Savior and you're trying to live Christ-like, read that book, and it will tell you everything about how to conduct yourself as a human being.
Yes. What's the number one commandment? Love thy neighbor as thyself. That's the number one. Mm-hmm. Jesus says that. Love your neighbor. Love your neighbor. Straight up. Yep. He doesn't say love your neighbor if he's this color or if they're not gay or if they are. Love your neighbor. That's it. The kingdom of God is within you. Love your neighbor.
Yeah.
Straight up. And that right there says it all.
And how many times does it say, and that judgment is not for us.
Right.
It's not our place to judge. So don't judge. Live the way Jesus asked you to.
Yes.
And then we're all cool.
Yes.
And then we're good.
Yes. And don't get me wrong. I keep bringing up a religion over here. I love Jesus. 100%. I feel like a lot of his teachings have been distorted to maintain power and control over people. But
100%.
my father was a Southern Baptist minister. I was raised in the church. I went to Christian school all through high school. If anybody knows about, that, form of religion, spirituality, it's me. But Jesus' core teachings were perfect. They were absolutely amazing. If the world would adopt Christ consciousness, it would be a perfect place. I totally agree, 100%.
There's this great book, man. It's called The Zen Teachings of Jesus.
Okay.
And it does a fantastic job of pointing out Jesus's actual teachings from the Bible and how it relates to what we would consider Eastern philosophy, Eastern religion, and the fact that Jesus was basically what we would call a hippie today.
Amen.
It's if you think about it, is true. Jesus never shot anyone. Jesus never, picking up weapons. Jesus, like you said, there's no racism. There's no judgment. It was just love, man.
That's it.
It was just his love for humanity. Yep.
And he also never said, "My name's Jesus. I am the Son of God," which I firmly believe that he was, but I also believe you are. But and myself, and we're all children of God. But Jesus never, put his arm around somebody and said, "Now, believe in me completely and accept me into your heart, or you're going to burn in hell forever." You know what I mean? That's not love.
Yeah. So Jesus never pulled the "Do you know who I am" card.
No, didn't. Do you know who I am? No, because his action spoke for itself, and he's revered across all Eastern religions. In Buddhism, when he passed away, when he was crucified, they were in mourning over there because he spent a lot of time over in the East. I firmly believe, but yes, it's the true teachings are a testament. But once again, kind of like politics, everything else has been distorted to fit a narrative. If we don't believe that has to, then we need to research a little bit more.
Amen, brother.
100%, buddy. All right, so let's hop into it. This is Home, Street Level Uprising.
shaken by the way that you treat your sisters and your brothers. That I don't wanna think about it means nothing. Same rights and foods of your family tree, the integration and suffrage enemies. But progress is always on the side of history. So you can say what you want about me. I don't care. I'll fight if I gotta fight. You be you, and I'll be I. I will be loved, and I'm not ashamed to say it. You can be hate, but I don't have to take it. Sometimes I'm lonely, I'm never alone. Sitting right in the comfort zone. I can't change your mind, so I won't even try. And I'm not down to argue just to waste my time. It's your freedom of choice to be a selfish fool. It's not the education or the safety in the schools. So what's right? I'll fight if I gotta fight. You be you, and I'll be I. I will be loved, and I'm not ashamed to say it. You can be hate, but I don't have to take it. The process neither starts nor ends with our votes. Oh no, standing right in the battle. Around here, gun intimidation's not a thing we fear. I can't abide our deepest flaws, becoming our latest hateful laws. Well, I care, I'll fight if I gotta fight. You be you, and I'll be I. I will be loved, and I'm not ashamed to say it. You can be hate, but I don't have to take it. Sometimes I'm lonely, I'm never alone. Sitting right in the comfort zone home. I will be loved, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Oh no, you can be hate, but I don't have to take it. The same passion I've always shown. Oh, 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 burn it right with the fire on home.
Nice. That's home, Street Level Uprising. I love that. I will be love, and I'm not afraid to say it. You can be hate, and I don't have to take it. And I think that's great because, in my opinion, that is something that goes full circle. Because a lot of people, they're like, well, I love, and then they were hateful. So a lot of people would respond back with hatefulness, right? Well, they were hateful to me, so I'm just going to, be hateful back. But you're like, no, I don't have to take it, but I'm still going to be loved. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That stops the fucking cycle of bullshit right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's all about attitude, man. And it's like, there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of anger. And
yes.
I'm not above that, man. I'm an angry person, and
So am I, buddy.
my you know, kind of my philosophy is, well, I got a right to be.
Yes, you
Because
do.
you see the stuff that's going on. You see people perpetrating violence of all sorts against other people.
Yes.
And it makes me angry. It should
Yes.
make you angry.
Yes.
If it doesn't make you angry, I'd question why that doesn't make you angry.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you have to act out of anger.
That's right.
But it does mean that you're making the proper assessment of the situation. It should piss you off. It doesn't
Yes.
mean you should react violently. But
Yes.
it means that you should take the situation seriously, and it should get to that part of your soul that realizes that we're all from the same fabric, we're all of one blood, and damn it, I'm not going to abide people being steamrolled. I'm not going to abide people on the end of violence, on the end of oppression.
Right.
I'm not all right with that.
I completely agree with you, man. And, you know, like I said, a lot of my spiritual views, you know, it's anger, for example. You know, you are not your emotions, you are not your anger, but, you know, you see anger arise. You don't dismiss it. You know, you observe it, you know, silently observe it, you know. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to act on it in a negative way or act on it in a positive way? Anger is good, you know, to be there. It means there's something going on that you don't like. But you have that decision to realize that you are not that anger. You can step back, observe, and choose what you want to do with it, you know? I can use it in a positive way or I can use it in a negative way. And I think a lot of people, they don't observe and think. They just immediately snap, you know, use it in the negative way. But like I said earlier, I think love takes that conscious decision because we've been literally conditioned to not love. We really have.
Yeah.
So,
Division is something that we see every day. It's what we're taught, you know,
yes.
every day
Yes.
to divide, you know?
Yep. And we also, I'm not getting political here, all weird or anything, but, you know, at the end of the day, the Native Americans used to say, you know, whenever an animal is killed, that, you know, feeling or, you know, goes into their, you know, the hormones goes into the meat, you know, so that's why they would try to kill, you know, animals in a very, like a humane way, you know, very quick, you know. You know, a lot of these slaughterhouses do not. So, you know, violence starts from our 3 meals a day. You know, we're eating something that was killed. So it's, you know, take it as a grain of salt if you want to, but I mean, you know, it's everything just kind of, like I said, we have to be conscious about it, you know. It's not just going to happen because we're conditioned to not love, honestly. I mean, it sucks, but that's kind of...
We talk about one love, and I'll give you a term that's just one word instead of two. Respect. If you respect human beings, if you respect all living creatures, and you live your life a certain way, you can live in harmony with those things and still be the person you are and do the things that you do.
Absolutely.
You can still get along just fine.
Yes.
But have that respect.
Yep. I completely agree. And a lot of people are like, well, you have to earn my respect. That's not me personally. I respect everybody and everything first.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to earn my respect. You already have it. You can lose it, you know, if you know, do something stupid, but you know, I mean, I wouldn't even say that. You know, I could still respect you as just somebody who might have done something stupid. But, you know, I mean, you know, there's things that people could do where you would, you know, lose complete respect for them. But, you know, I have respect for everybody. And, you know, I think if people did, you know, it's, you know, saying you have to earn my respect. Well, what do I have to do to earn your respect? How far do I have to go? You know, you're placing limitations on everybody, you know, like you're better than them. You got to earn it. Well, it should already be there.
Yeah, man. And first of all, when someone says that, they're telling you that they think they're superior to you and to everyone. But you have to earn my... Who the fuck are you? I don't have to earn shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to earn shit. Look, to me, there's different levels of respect. I respect some people more than I respect others. But there should be a basic respect for humanity, for human beings,
for life,
for nature, for whatever, for life. Thank you.
Yep.
just basic, you know, and then you can decide which ones you want to respect more than others. I do.
Yeah, right. But you know, there's not. I mean, you know, from flicking cigarette butts out the window, you know what I mean? That's a blatant disrespect for nature, you know. And if you're doing that, then, you know, and I'm not ripping on anybody who flips cigarette butts out the window. I'm just saying, you know, people do it not thinking about it. Once again, it's got to be conscious. You know, you have to think about, what am I doing? Is this really smart? You know, because we've been conditioned to not, you know, really care. And I think a lot of that is because a lot of us live in fear because, you know, the system that we live under keeps us in fear of, you know, am I going to be able to afford to pay my bills? You know, all this kind of stuff. What's going to happen tomorrow? You know, my fear is not an illegal immigrant, you know? So my fear is, how much more expensive is healthcare going to be? You know, I mean, we get it through my wife's job, but it's what, $1,000 a month, and then you go to the dentist, and you know, that's my fear is, are we going to be able to afford to pay rent next month because everything is going through the roof? You know, like that's, and I think that's a lot of people's fear. But
yeah, and there's nothing but fear right now on all sides of this thing. It's
exactly
everyone's afraid of something.
Yes,
you know, and big fears all around, and yeah, man, the you know, whether it's food prices, healthcare, like there's plenty for us to be afraid of.
And anger comes from what?
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah. It comes from that fear. It comes from fear. Yeah.
Direct result of fear. So there you go. You keep people scared, you get them angry. There you go. I mean, it's amazing. And then they're conditioned to not think about love, to just go on that anger. So it's, like I said, it's all by design. And I want to find the guy who designed it, and out of love, you know, beat the shit out of him. But
well, we love a scapegoat, man. We love scapegoats in this country.
Sure.
So it's, you know, it's always, you know, oh, you're worried about your life. You got problems in your life. Oh, it's the immigrants. Oh, you got problems with your life. It's, you know, it's Jewish people are holding you down. And you know, it's like what like stop with the scapegoating.
Yes.
Stop with the scapegoating of everyone. Yeah. No one's doing this to you. Right. The people who are telling you other people are doing it to you, they're the ones doing it to us.
Exactly.
This is top down stuff, man. It's not bottom up. This is top down.
Exactly right. Yeah, like the immigrants are taking all the jobs from the people. No, they're not taking all the jobs from people. They're just willing to work more. I hate to say it, but they're willing to do whatever it takes. 6 of them live, you know, in a 1-bedroom apartment. Most people who were born here and raised here, that's not what they're used to. But they're also not in, you know, that mode. But you know, like you said, an immigrant's not my problem. That's not anybody's problem. It's everything else. You know, a lot of other things are the problem, and I just wish that, you know, those issues would be addressed. You know, other than things that really don't need to be addressed right now.
Yeah, and we got this billionaire worship thing going on, which I never understood, because it was always us against them. It was always us against the fat cats. Now you got people looking up to these folks and kissing their asses in the hope that maybe someday they'll break them off a piece. And newsflash, they're not gonna. Right. The whole purpose of the Trumps and Elons of the world is to keep you from getting up in their stratosphere and having to share what they've got. Yep. So like, let's cut let's look at where the problems are coming from. Yep. It's top down, not bottom up.
Yeah, and this comes from a lot of my my younger day ideology when I was in the Revolutionary Communist Party. But nobody should be a billionaire. I'm sorry. In America, I don't care. I just don't. Because there are enough people suffering, and people like they earn that money. Well, no. If you're a billionaire, you're earning it off the backs and the sweat of people that are underpaid, treated like shit, working their asses off for barely enough to survive, and you're becoming a billionaire off of it. So now you didn't really earn all that money. You learned how to screw other people to get it, But nobody should have that much wealth. It's just when there's things going on in this country where people can barely afford to eat or live, it's just, to me, that's a flawed system. When you can have a fucking a veteran of the Vietnam War sitting on the corner homeless and a billionaire. That's just no, in the same city. I just, I don't buy into that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that, would want to smack me for saying that. They earned it. Well, how did they earn it? By complete, dishonesty, not paying taxes, by the blood, sweat, and tears of other people.
Of other people, yeah.
Yes, which is slavery. Nothing compared to what the African Americans went through. There's, I put enslaving a human being up there with murder, child molestation, and rape. Right. That's, probably one, the worst thing you could ever do. And on a smaller scale, they're still, still doing it to people.
Economic slavery is still a thing. That's still a thing,
Yes, absolutely right. And, like you said, that people should think about that and get angry, but, we should also realize it's happening to everybody. This does not judge based on skin color. They don't care. Right. It's literally the elite against the non-elite. They don't care what color you are. They don't care where you came from. It's them against us. And if we need to realize that, but we are creating divides that don't even need to exist, to keep us divided, so we can't realize that and then actually take action and fight back. But awesome. Well, coming up next, I'm really excited about this. You sent me this track a couple of days ago. This is unreleased. It's called The Devil's Playground. There's a is that organ in it? The organ?
Yeah.
There's a mean organ rip in it. I was like, yeah, bro. I felt like I was in church.
So it's unreleased and it's unfinished too.
Right. Yeah, you're still waiting on a couple elements, right?
Yeah, a couple elements we're still waiting on, but it's going to be out. It's going to be out this summer. And,
I like it a lot. It's definitely a burner.
That's our guy Caesar on organ there. It's pretty hot.
Well, it's I wouldn't say dark. The name is dark. The track is not, but it's maybe a little cautionary. What's the message behind this one?
So
I love that. It's going to be good when you ask somebody and they laugh first. It's like, let me think about this. Let me laugh a little bit so I can think about it.
Yeah. Well, the laugh is to kind of pre-diffuse what I know I'm going to say, but there's this element right now of servitude, of disbelief to the things that are going on right now.
Sure.
And I've seen it in the reggae community too, man. I've got a lot of friends in the reggae community are like, where's all the protest songs from artists? Why is everyone just, acting like nothing's going on? Yeah. To which I say, just wait, because Street Level is going to do their thing. Yep. So we're going to be coming out with plenty. Yep. But there's this goes back to what I was saying about the billionaire worship, and it's like the sycophantic behavior,
right?
The of what's going on right now.
That's a great word too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and how we have to be careful of the people that we decide to worship.
Sure.
And I'll just leave it. I'll leave it right there.
Amen. 100%. Yeah, it's sad. And then at the end of the day, if money is, what drives you, or is, your motivational force, once again, it can't be love, because when you're a billionaire, look at who you're screwing over to get there, Trump, for example, bought a ton of properties, in New York City when he was starting out or whatever, real estate, that he made deals with, well, I'm not going to pay the taxes on this because I'm going to create 2,000 jobs, and avoided paying millions of dollars in taxes, That rolls downhill. Somebody's paying those taxes, It's us. We pay more taxes and those people barely pay any, if they pay any. Trump still hadn't released his all of his tax information that Hillary Clinton kept telling him to release, for a reason, because it's completely fraudulent, but we're not doing that, and like you said, the whole billionaire worship thing's absolutely insane, because it's just it's kind of sick how a lot of them got there. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this track. Definitely excited for the people to hear it. Got a chance to jam it out yesterday a lot, and absolutely loved it. So here we go. This is the, where's it at right here? The Devil's Playground, Street Level Uprising.
Some folks live to bury our hopes. There's only grift and grouse. Run them out the house. I dread, I've bled. I've played with the misled. I shoe it bread with hearts and lead. I'll burn this bald head instead. Jah love.
Nice.
They know nothing of. They bend the knee to the devil's fool. No one ever trusts a government unless their guy is running it. Everyone wants to vote how they vote, but they never think they'll reap what they sow. Oh no,
Yes.
Jah love. They know nothing of. They bend the knee to the devil's fool. Creeping in the ditches, they just couldn't wait to become snitches. How fast they got their lips on that ass.
Yes.
Jah love. They know nothing of. They bend the knee to the devil's fool. Jah love. They know nothing of. They bend the knee to the devil's fool.
And I do apologize, folks. That is the Devil's Fool, not the Devil's Playground. I don't know. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, no worries, man.
You should
No
have
worries. It's not out
corrected me. I don't know. You should have been like, look, this is not out of anger. It's out of love. You got the fucking title wrong, bud.
No, man. It's all good, man. Nothing to worry about.
That's really awesome. I like that. You know, when you're talking about, you know, voting for whoever you want to, but, you know, pretty much not, you know, reaping what you sow.
Yeah.
And then, I definitely got the you know, the billionaire kind of worship in there. You know what I mean? But those, they know nothing of Jah love. Obviously, the billionaires.
Yeah.
So,
and
go ahead. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. Yeah, it's I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, we were talking about the billionaire worship, knowing nothing of
Yeah,
love.
sorry, man. So we haven't talked much about it, but for anyone who aren't familiar with me or don't, I've talked about this a few times on social media, but I actually had a stroke about 9 months ago.
Yep.
So and I'm a very private person, but I chose to talk about this because I want to help it not happen to other people, especially men. We're not big on going to the doctor and things like that. So I do talk about it from time to time. But yeah, one of the symptoms I still have from the stroke is that I will blank out and not remember what I was going to say. Sometimes I have trouble speaking.
Right.
But yeah, that's what happened there. The hamster fell asleep in the.
So I'm a man who doesn't like going to the doctor much. Maybe after this, you could, or when the podcast is uploaded, you can kind of tell me a little bit more about about everything. But to be quite honest with you, I'm so glad it wasn't worse. You would never know. I mean, you have a podcast, a great reggae podcast called Talking Reggae. You have a phenomenal band. You sing very well. You play guitar. That track right there, that lead, that sounded like Carlos Santana straight up. It kind of that boo-dee-doo-dee. It was awesome. And that bass line in that track is very driving, man. That's one thing I love about reggae music. But,
yeah, man. Yeah, same.
That was very, very solid driving track. But and also to touch on that, love. I just want to kind of tell people, you have reggae artists out there and musicians that will sing about stuff, but you don't know them, or they'll do something and you're like, well, they're not really practicing what they preach. Folks, let me tell you, Jay, he sings about consciousness. He talks about love. He practices 100% what he preaches. One of the first, like when I very first met him, I think we had talked once or twice. I texted him freaking out. My AC leaked, and it leaked all over my podcast stuff. Fucked my mixer up, my computer up, and I was like, I quit. I verbally vomited all over him. He's probably like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy, man? But I was like, I quit. I'm done. I'm not even going to do the podcast. And he messaged me back. He's like, no, what you're doing is very important. You need to keep doing this. And I was like, wow, I needed to hear that. And so I did. My wife's like, we're going to get you new stuff, and you're going to make it work. So instead of, giving up. So that's what I'm talking about. He practices what he preaches, through our... getting to know each other and everything. He's 100% solid, all about everything that he talks about is exactly what he lives and how he treats people. So if you're listening to the music, just know that the person who's writing it and the person who is speaking it is actually completely living it 100%. So just had to get that out there, man. There's a lot of bullshit going on out there. So,
That's really kind of you to say that. Yeah, man. I see it. I see it in this American reggae community, man. I see it all the time, and like, I don't want to be the one to say things. I'm never going to be a gatekeeper. It's not my place to judge. But I see some people, innocent reggae-loving music fans, get swept up with a particular artist, and I know it's going to end in heartache for them because I know that artist, and I know they don't stand for what they're. What you think they stand for. Yeah. And it's so painful for me to see that, man. Reggae is something I hold very, very high as far as the morality that should come along with this. Sure. And unfortunately, in a lot of areas, it's just become like any other form of music. Just money and partying, and that's it. And and if it's forgotten its roots in some places,
Yeah, I actually, I know for a fact, reggae is my life, and I it was, like I said at the beginning of my podcast, it was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So, of course, I started to look up why other reasons of music were created, you know what I mean? And, some of them just, were culminations of other kinds of music, or, like blues, obviously, the country to tell a story. But yes, reggae music was created for social change at a time when massive injustice was going on. It still is, but as a tool and as a weapon. And, you know, to me, taking the consciousness and the true message of reggae music out of it is like taking the bullets out of your gun and then going to war. It's wasn't created for that reason. Now it's okay, you know, to say whatever you want to say, you know, whatever, you know, but the fact that I think a lot of it, and I just talked about this with Cultivated Mind on our Cultivated Mondays, you know, I was like, why is that conscious message and the message of, you know, social justice and change, you know, kind of maybe not disappearing, but kind of, you know, getting a little watered down or not really being mentioned too much anymore. And, you know, maybe it's because you don't want to lose listeners, you know, and that kind of stuff. Or the record label might be like, yeah, I don't really talk about that, you know. And Tony was like, from Cultivated Mind, he's like, look, it's how you build your platform. Bill Burr, for example, a comedian, right? He can say anything he wants, right? And everybody's going to be like, I'm still a Bill Burr fan. Why? Because he built his platform on saying anything he wants, you know? Yeah. So he's not going to shock people or lose fans. You know, Anthony Jeselnik the same way. And myself included, and Street Level Uprising, you know? I built my platform. You know, people know it's a roots platform, my radio show. I mean, I call them transmissions, you know what I mean? It's all about a revolution, a revolutionary, you know, reggae and conscious reggae music. And my the podcast as well, we, you know, try to stick to the you know, the roots sound and the conscious message of reggae music. So that's what I've built my platform on. And Street Level Uprising, you 100% your platform is built on it, from your logo to your lyrics to every single song you put out is all 100% about conscious social change in a positive way. You built your platform on it, so there's really nothing you could say in that thing that would, you know, change, you know, stop your fans from listening to you, you know. But I think there's some bands that, you know, people are used to that good, you know, party, relax, chill out feeling. You know, if they got deep, people might be, you know, like, wait, what? You know, this is not why I'm listening to, you know. So
and I've seen several, man, where and these are big American reggae bands.
Right.
There were some during George Floyd, that era.
Yes.
There was one that you know, one member of one of these bands that I respect that just posted on Facebook the other day, and these bands are kind of like, they'll come out strongly against these injustices,
right?
And then they'll get a backlash from some of their fans, and then they come out and say, you know, we're a reggae band, we have some conscious songs. Why would you have thought that we wouldn't, you know, that be against these injustices?
Yeah.
My answer to that is what you just said. They didn't create that as part of their platform.
Right.
They may have some conscious songs in there, but people know them as a band that's fun.
Right.
They're you know, they enjoy their music, they love listening, but they don't get bogged down with the conscious stuff because they have plenty other songs that aren't like that.
Right.
So to me, it's like, what do you want your message to be? And yeah, at some point, it's like, yes, why would you think a reggae band wouldn't speak out against injustices? Reggae was founded in this. But on the other hand, they didn't set themselves up clearly as a band who's against these things, so people got the wrong message. So that's on us too.
Yep.
You know, I've had misunderstandings with my lyrics where I've had to say, well, I guess I didn't say what I was trying to say clearly enough, and people got confused. So it's on us. But yeah, if people don't think that that you'd be against these things, and maybe it's because you didn't say it loud enough or strongly enough in your music and your image or platform, like you said, whatever you want to call it, that people just thought you were a party band.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, you know, I love all reggae. You know, one of my straight up 100% favorite bands, seen them 4 times from when, you know, they opened for Tribal Seeds and Bad Fish in front of 50 people to, you know, festivals in front of 10,000 people, the Elevators. You know, they're not, you know, they're very positive, you know what I mean? But they're fun, you know, but it's not like revolutionary conscious lyrics, but I absolutely love them. But, you know, my heart and my, you know, my soul and my drive is with the, you know, the conscious music. So it's not like I'm, you know, saying anything, you know, against, you know, the fun. But, you know, my my heart and my soul and my drive, my platform is built on that. Now, can I ask you a quick question before we go? You had mentioned your lyrics, maybe, you know, going back, you know, maybe I didn't explain it right or say it right. And if I have to delete this off the podcast because it makes you uncomfortable for me asking, I will. But it's a track that you had mentioned about gun control.
Yeah.
And having some maybe backlash or confused people. Is that something that we can talk about real quick?
Oh yeah, man, absolutely.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, because I obviously didn't tell you I was going to throw that in there, but I know you have a song about gun control. I don't know what it's about, but I know you had mentioned to me that you were getting some, you know, maybe backlash or some people maybe from both sides saying some stuff. So can you kind of just throw that at us real quick?
Yeah, man. So Angry Gun, which is
that's it.
One of our more popular tunes, is something we play at every show. We do this percussion breakdown in there that's fun and all that stuff. Well, Angry Gun is, you know, I have very strong feelings about the gun movement, one way or the other. But my number one feeling about it is that Pandora's box ain't closing.
Sure.
So we need to figure out realistic solutions. And to me, arming teachers is not a realistic solution.
No.
And hoping guns are going to magically disappear is not a solution.
Right.
And that both sides of this gun debate are not starting from a place of reality. Not starting from. So I wrote the song Angry Gun. It's it's tongue in cheek.
Okay.
And I'm kind of poking at both sides of this debate. But people hear what they want to hear.
Yep.
And I've had people usually on the pro-gun side that misconstrue what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is gun violence. If you're a responsible gun owner who goes deer hunting or keeps a gun for protection, there's no... It's in the Constitution.
Which is myself.
You're fine. Yeah, I don't have any issues.
Me and my wife, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with that. My problem is with gun culture.
Sure.
Gun culture is ridiculous. It's for children. I see 40-year-olds acting like they're 12-year-olds with their guns sometimes. It's ridiculous. And I'm also...
You're right, man. Yes.
Yeah, like, come on. It's like, keep it to yourself. Like, pretend it's a dildo and keep it to yourself, would you?
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, we don't go flashing that out in public. So you keep your guns and your dildos.
Wow.
And your, right.
Yeah, that would be
keep
hilarious.
all that shit in your own bedroom.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then for the anti-gun movement, it's like, you know, would it be cool if all the guns just magically disappeared? Sure, it's not going to happen. So just let it go and let's deal with reality.
Yeah.
So I say some things in there poking fun at both sides of this debate. Like I said, very tongue-in-cheek.
Cool.
But there's often one or two guys who will come up to me after a show and say that they're gun owners and they were offended by what I said. And I have to say, look, man, I'm not talking about owning a gun.
Right.
I'm talking about gun violence.
Yes.
And if you're a responsible gun owner, you shouldn't want gun violence either. You shouldn't want, you know, whether it's criminals or you know, whomever, to get this access to guns. Yeah. And nobody talks about this. Why is there so much access to illegal firearms? How did that happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's think about this.
Well, because they're being sold from the people who own them on the black market to be distributed on the streets, kind of like the CIA put crack into the black neighborhoods in the 60s.
Yes. Yeah, because in the gun factories, the gun owners, the gun lobby allows it to happen.
Yes.
And that's illegal guns just don't make themselves. They don't grow out of the ground like spinach.
Exactly. Right. They came from somewhere.
So let's all get together. So whether you're pro-gun or anti-gun, let's all get together. 90% that we don't have more agreement on any one issue in this country. 90% of people in this country want to make gun ownership more difficult.
Right.
And what I mean by that is not if you're a law-abiding citizen with no record that it's harder for you to get a gun.
Right.
But just that there's more of a screening process. Yeah. 9 out of 10 of us agree on this, and that's gun owners as well as non-gun owners. Yep. Let's come up with some common sense ideas that work and stop with this bullshit of coming up with ideas that don't work.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is kind of hard though because you have the people on the left or whatever. Well, we need more gun legislation. I'm like, the only people the legislation hurts are law-abiding citizens because criminals are
Yeah.
going to have access to them all anyway, like we just discussed. So
Right.
placing laws doesn't help. The only people it hurts are like I said, the law-abiding citizens like myself, who is a gun owner. But then again, I used to have a different view. I used to be, anybody should be able to own anything. Now, I honestly, I don't see the need for, a 10,000 round magazine for a fully automatic assault rifle. I mean, if you have to have it, I guess that should be a really, really intense screening process. But then again, if a criminal wants it, they're just going to get it anyway. But I mean, should all of it be accessible? I'm still kind of like, I don't know. Do you need it? No, but maybe you just enjoy shooting guns like that. And if you're a law-abiding citizen, why shouldn't you have it, But, I mean, I think it's what's going to have to change is what we've been talking about this whole time. A revolution, but a mental revolution, you know what I mean? A shift in consciousness where compassion takes over because guns aren't going anywhere. And if you take them away from the law-abiding citizens or you take them away from the people, then if a revolution ever came where unfortunately it had to be violent, the people have no way to fight back, But
Right.
it's a very confusing topic. I'm really, really, really amazed that you actually wrote a song about it.
Well, and it's complicated. Like I'm not saying there's easy answers to it,
Right.
But like
There's not.
we don't want to ban guns. Okay. We also don't want to fund mental health care.
Right.
So we are just going to continue seeing people snap and murder a dozen people.
Right.
And are we just okay with it now? Is this just okay? Are we desensitized to
I
it
know.
to the point
they have
where
drills
it's
in
like
schools
a plane,
now, right? Like active
Right,
shooter
so-
drills.
Yeah, man. So it's like a plane crash. It's just something that we go, well, it's going to happen once in a while. There's nothing we can do about
Fucking
it. No,
crazy.
there's things we can do about it, but we just need to talk about it starting from a point of reality.
Do you have
And that-
if the ball was in your court and you were able to make the nationwide decision, do you have any ideas that you think might work?
I think it starts with mental health care.
It does. You're exactly right. Amen. 100%.
Someone who's not struggling doesn't decide to shoot a bunch of people.
Right.
You have to be in a place I cannot relate to.
No, absolutely.
To get that idea, right? So to me, it all starts with mental health care.
And it's not
But if
video
you're coming-
games. I mean,
No.
they
I
say that
played video.
desensitizes people. I'm like, dude, I was playing the Nintendo games, even shooting people up and all that stuff. I never, ever crossed my mind, let me go mow down 100 people. Never.
No. Literally tens of millions of us under the age of 50 or under the age of 60 grew up playing violent video games.
Yeah.
They're still playing them today. Very few of
Laser
us
tag.
are ever going to go. None of us are going to go shoot up a school. We're talking about mental health.
Do you know what's wild,
about
though?
mental health
Think
first
about
and
it.
Foremost.
Autism is on the rise big time. Big time. When I was younger, it barely even existed. Now it's huge. School shootings are on the rise. It's a mental health thing. A lot of it is being blamed on now what's being put in our food and what we're eating, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I think it's all by design once again. I really do. You know what I mean?
Well, you never know.
Right.
You keep an open mind. You never know.
Yeah. But
You
I
know?
mean, a lot of it's on the rise. But I do agree with you 100%. I think it's I think it's mental health, yeah. And that kind of stuff should be addressed at an early age and, maybe even in public schools, If somebody has an issue or just, compassion should be taught. I don't remember a class on compassion. I remember, history class about all the wars and shit like that, but I don't,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I agree.
So,
It comes back to all the stuff we've been talking about, man.
yes.
Loving each other, having compassion, having empathy for other people.
Yes.
Putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yes.
Think about, man, how would I feel if I was dealing with what that person's dealing with right now? Basic human fucking empathy, man.
Yes, you're exactly right. Amen. 100%. And, I hate to keep touching on my spirituality, but yes, I'll close with this. It's all about compassion, and being in service of other people. That's why my wife and myself started our nonprofit, Sacred Eye. We started the initiative Reggae for a reason that funds out of work full-time reggae musicians. If they're sick or in the hospital and they can't make their gigs or miss a tour, we will step in and help fund them. And in the sad event that a member of the community passes away, we will give assistance to the families. And we also started the Natural Spectrum Project, which is a project to fund holistic autism research, only holistic, not the pharmaceutical. So, but it's being in service of other people, and we've made that conscious decision that for the rest of our lives, we are going to spend it helping other people, being in service of other people, completely. So, yes, and I think that once you make that decision, it's not like things come back to you or any. It's just your life. The way you view things change, because, what I do for work, there was a coffee cup in this gentleman's driveway that I delivered to yesterday. And he was an old guy. I felt, I saw it laying there. Instinctively, I picked it up and walked it over and threw it in his trash can. You know what I mean? Things like that, I think should hopefully become instinctual to people, just do the next right thing without having to think about it would be a beautiful thing, but we have to start doing it by thinking about it, and then it will become, just natural, a way of life, which is nice. But
amen,
dude,
brother, amen.
Jay, it is always a pleasure. I know off podcast I probably annoy you because I'm just like I am on this podcast. I'll talk and talk and talk. If I have an idea, I throw it at somebody. So poor Jay, I'll look at it. There'll be like 7 paragraphs in blue and then 1 in the response. But
and I know, and I'm the opposite, man.
I know you are.
I'm kind of quiet. I don't like. I can do this because like I'll talk about music or sports. I'll talk about that stuff all day.
Yeah,
I can get down on that stuff. But like I'm normally pretty quiet, few words. But I always love hearing from you, man. I'll never get tired of it.
I know. It's such a beautiful thing, man, and I definitely appreciate it. I'm definitely looking forward to the event in October that you're going to play for our nonprofit kickoff. It's so nice. Having you on the show was amazing. When I presented this idea to you, you said, hell yeah, let's go. And I figured you'd be great to do it with. Absolutely love your music. Fantastic band. Incredible lyrics. Definitely a message. And you said you don't know if you'll ever change anybody's mind. Well, you know what? You're doing it the right way. You're presenting a message to people in a nice, positive manner. You're not judging them. You're not screaming at them. You're not yelling at them. You're wrapping it in a nice package and giving it to them in a very presentable way. So you're definitely doing it right. And I think your message is going to change people's minds if it hasn't already, which I'm sure it has. So thank you. Check out Jay on Talkin' Reggae, TALKIN Reggae. It's Talkin' Reggae podcast. He's got like, 250 episodes out now?
I don't know.
I think it's around there, like 249, 250.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a really, really awesome podcast. His episodes are they're not as long as mine, so you can get a lot of them in, and it's nice. They're all very very informative, very awesome, and he packs a lot of information into he doesn't drag it out like I do. So with the 5 heavy hitters that we played, where do you see Street Level Uprising heading next? What are the fires that are still burning inside of you that we can look forward to hearing about?
Oh man, I got my board here of all the things we're working on studio wise.
Beautiful.
So that's I got a lot. We got the first single. We're gonna be dropping singles.
Okay.
All year. The first single we got coming out in July is going to be called All One People. Right after that, we're going to put The Devil's Fool out.
Okay.
And then we have just tune after tune just coming out from there, man.
Are these singles going to be on like an album, or are they just singles?
They're going to be singles. We're going to be dropping singles for a while.
Okay.
And at the end of the cycle, we will release them all on an album.
That's great. Fantastic, man. That's incredible. Well, that's a beautiful thing because I love having repeat guests and I love playing, the music and talking about it. So, when after we get to about 3, that have come out, I'll have you back on. We'll talk about those 3 singles and then we'll keep it going, man. It's a beautiful thing. Love having you on. So,
yeah, man, same.
Tell the people where they can find you. Street Level Uprising and Talkin' Reggae.
Sure. StreetLevelUprising.com has everything. And then we're all over Spotify with Street Level Uprising and Talking Reggae. Same thing. All podcast platforms.
Yes.
All streaming platforms. You can find the band and the podcast. Look us up on Facebook. I'm Street Level J on Instagram. And connect with us, man. Our favorite thing about this is meeting people.
Yes.
And interacting with people. That's why I do this. I could just sit in the studio all day. I could sit in my room all day and play guitar, but what we love is meeting people. Like 99% of my friends that I have, the people I hold dear, I met because of music. I met because of playing music. This connects us all. I have a vision that music and food can save the world, can bring us all together. And so that's what it's all about, man. Let's link up.
Dude, you said food, so you could start a food truck called Street Corn Uprising.
My daughter would love that. She loves street corn.
So do I, man. How could you not? It's amazing, bro.
She'd be all behind that idea, man.
I love it, dude. I love it. And last question: do you sell the that soap on your website?
I do. My wife makes that soap, man.
If you're watching the YouTube video, I'm holding it up in front of the camera. This is Rasta colored soap.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about her soap, man. Yeah. I struggled to find a soap that didn't make me itch.
Right.
All that commercial soap dried out my skin. I'd have like red blotches all over my skin for hours, man.
Right.
I broke down to using glycerin soap for a while. When my wife started making soap, there's nothing in that soap but olive oil, coconut oil, the fragrance, and obviously there's lye to cause the chemical process.
Yep.
But this is a natural soap.
That's great.
And I haven't had skin problems ever since I started using her soap 10 years ago or whenever she started making it. This soap is great. I have numerous people tell me it's the best soap they've ever used. I have people that just make it regular. They just say, hey, I need some more soap, and I'm going to send you some money, send me some soap. She doesn't mass produce it. It's all handmade, all natural. If you're looking for a good quality soap, hit me up. You got to try this stuff.
I'm going to do that because I'm keeping this one for my podcast desk because it's the Rasta colors, and I mean,
I can send you another one.
But I need, I definitely want one to use. Like I said, me and my wife are huge hippies, so everything we use is all, all natural, like the deodorant and all that kind of stuff, and the soap. But I mean, I would love to get up on some of that. That would be awesome, man.
I'll send you a few different. She's got some curing right now. She's got 5 or 6 different types. So she makes more than just a street level soap. She makes all different fragrances.
That's
so
awesome.
I'll send you some.
Well, during our when you come to play the nonprofit benefit, have her bring some. Vending is free. Have her set up and sell some stuff, man. That'd be great.
Cool, man. Will do. Thank you.
All right, brother. Well, Jay, thank you so much, man. We definitely appreciate it. Jay Canter, Street Level Uprising, Talking Reggae. It was an absolutely beautiful show. Thank you so much for coming on. And there is strength in unity, so build your community. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Facebook. Hippie-Fari. Email me, hippie-fari-reggae@gmail.com. Check out my website, hippie-fari.podbean.com. I am the only Hippie-Fari in the world. Very easy to find. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. It really, really, really does help. And this is Scotty, the High-Strung Hippie, and Kira, the Irie Empress, reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. And do something nice for somebody today. Grab some flowers for your partner. Smoke out a stranger. Slip the homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart. All good things start with the heart. Peace, love, and Rasta rhythms are all a part of the reggae revolution. One love, fam.